Welcome to Blacklight History, your daily dose of births, deaths, and events in African-American history. I'm your host, Big A. It's July 16th. I'm glad you're here. Let's get into it. Today we remember educator, civil rights advocate, investigative journalist, honorary Delta Sigma Theta, and suffragist Ida B. Wells. Born on this day into slavery in Mississippi in 1862, her family would be freed by the Emancipation Proclamation. Wells's parents believed in the power of education and instilled it in their children. Tragically, when Ida was 16, she would become an orphan when her parents and older sibling perished in a yellow fever outbreak in 1878. Instead of going into the foster care system, Wells kept her younger siblings with her and moved to Memphis and began teaching to make ends meet. Wells also began her career as a journalist, writing in black-owned newspapers about the conditions in the South and in the educational system in general. She would twice be moved from the first-class section of a train, even though she had purchased a ticket. Wells would sue and win at the local level, but was overturned on appeal. Wells was the editor and co-owner of the Free Speech and Headlight newspaper, so of course she would write about the case and was eventually fired from her teaching position in Memphis due to her columns about the black schools in the region. But it was the 1892 lynching of her friend Thomas Moss, a Memphis grocery store owner, that would change Wells's trajectory forever. Wells would begin her work documenting lynchings and disproving their myths. Moss's lynching happened in March. By May, the people of Memphis had had enough. They ransacked and burned the Free Speech, while Wells was away in Manhattan on vacation. Wells would live in Harlem for a time, writing articles and producing pamphlets called Southern Horrors and A Red Record. Wells would eventually move to Chicago and continued her investigative work. Being a strong proponent of black suffrage, she founded the Alpha Suffrage Club in Chicago in 1913. Wells was also one of the co-founders of the NAACP in 1909. Wells would commit her life to civil rights of black people, and women in particular. Frederick Douglass was a strong proponent of her work, but he would pass in 1895. Black leaders of the early 1900s found her to be too radical and abrasive in her goals. In her autobiography, Dusk of Dawn, Wells explosively said W.E.B. Du Bois intentionally left her off the list of NAACP founders. Ida B. Wells was a force in the Chicago area. Her writings, suffrage groups, and creation of settlement housing would create a lasting legacy for her. She would pass in 1931 at the age of 68. Posthumously, she has been inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame, given a special Pulitzer Prize citation, and the United States Postal Service created a stamp in her honor. Today we remember PGA golfer Calvin Peete. Born on this day in 1943, prior to the emergence of Tiger Woods, Peete was the most successful black golfer in PGA history with 12 tour wins. In 1985, he would win the Tour Players Championship. With the win, it would make the third time Peete finished in the top 5 money earners list. In 1983, he was a member of the winning Ryder Cup team. Peete would pass away from lung cancer in 2015 at the age of 71. Happy 79th birthday to Oakland, California Mayor Barbara Lee. Born on this day in El Paso, Texas in 1946, Lee started a political career working on Shirley Chisholm's presidential campaign and later for the Black Panther Party's Bobby Seale. With a bachelor's degree from Mills College and a master's of social work from Cal Berkeley, Lee would run for and win a seat in the State California Assembly in 1990. She would become a state senator in 1996. In 1998, Lee would win a U.S. House seat for the 9th District of California. She would remain a Congresswoman for 26 years, where she chaired the Congressional Black Caucus from 2008 to 2010. Earlier this year, Lee ran in the special election for the mayor of Oakland, California. She would win and be sworn in on May 20th, making her the first black female to hold the office. Happy 65th birthday to former National League MVP Terry Pendleton. During his 14-year Major League Baseball career, the third baseman would be a 3-time Gold Glove winner and the 1991 National League batting champion. On this day in 1964, off-duty New York City Police Lieutenant Thomas Gilligan would shoot and kill 15-year-old James Powell, sparking the 1964 Harlem race riot. The violence would last 6 days, leaving 118 people injured and over 400 arrests were made. It would be the first in a string of violent racial episodes throughout the country in '64. Happy 57th birthday to Hall of Fame running back Barry Sanders. Sanders played his college football at Oklahoma State University. As a Cowboy, Sanders set 34 NCAA records. He was a two-time All-American, and in 1988 was the Big 8 Offensive Player of the Year, the Maxwell Award winner, the Walter Camp Award winner, the Chick Harley Award, and Heisman Trophy winner. Drafted by the Detroit Lions in 1989, Sanders would win the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year his rookie season. In his 10-year NFL career, all with the Lions, Sanders finished his career with 15,269 rushing yards, making him fourth all-time. For his career, he scored 109 total touchdowns. Sanders was a two-time Burt Bell Award winner, led the league in rushing 4 times, and in 1991 led the league in rushing touchdowns. A 10-time All-Pro selection, Sanders was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year twice, and in 1997 was the league's most valuable player. Named to the 1990s All-Decade team as well as the 100th Anniversary team, Sanders was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2004. The Detroit Lions have retired his number 20 jersey. On this day in 1969, Minnesota Twins second baseman Rod Carew, in his first game of a doubleheader against the Chicago White Sox, stole home plate for the 7th time of the season, tying a Major League Baseball record. On this day in 1988, at the Seoul Olympics, American athlete Jackie Joyner-Kersee sets the world record with 7,291 points in the Heptathlon, securing her second Olympic gold medal. Her record still stands to this day. Happy birthday to actor Daryl Mitchell. Beginning his entertainment career as a rapper, Mitchell appeared in the movie House Party in 1990. He began to make acting his focus. Co-starring in TV and film, Mitchell would find work on The John Larroquette Show, earning him an NAACP Image Award nomination, and Veronica's Closet. On film, he would appear in 1996's Sergeant Bilko, 1998's Home Fries, 1999's 10 Things I Hate About You, and the movie Galaxy Quest. In 2001, Mitchell would be involved in a motorcycle accident that paralyzed him from the waist down. He would continue acting, earning him an NAACP Image Award for his short-lived role in the TV show Brothers with Michael Strahan. For 7 seasons, he starred in the CBS drama CSI New Orleans, and more recently found work on Fear the Walking Dead. Daryl Mitchell turned 60 today. Today we remember the life of Hall of Fame defensive tackle Buck Buchanan. The Alabama native played his college football at Grambling State University under legendary coach Eddie Robinson. Buchanan was also a member of the Tigers basketball team with future Basketball Hall of Fame center Willis Reed and future NFL teammate Ernie Ladd. Buchanan was drafted as the first pick in the 1963 AFL draft by the Kansas City Chiefs. He would dominate the defensive line for 13 seasons in pro football, all with the Chiefs, winning the 1966 AFL Championship and Super Bowl IV. Buchanan was a 7-time All-AFL or NFL pick, and was named to the NFL's 100th Anniversary team. The Kansas City Chiefs will retire his number 86 and induct him into their Hall of Fame. In 1990, Buchanan was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He would pass on this day in 1992 at the age of 52 from a bout with lung cancer. Today we remember the life of Dr. John Henrik Clarke, a pioneer of Africana and Pan-African studies. Clarke, a son of Georgia sharecroppers, would move to Harlem against his mother's wishes. Clarke was drafted into the Air Force during World War II and would attain the rank of Master Sergeant. After the war, Clarke would begin writing and lecturing, traveling to Ghana, Nigeria, and Cuba, learning about the Black diaspora. He would return to the States and become the chairman of the Black and Puerto Rican Studies Department at Hunter College, and the Carter G. Woodson Distinguished Visiting Professor of African Studies at Cornell University, all without a high school diploma or a doctorate. Clarke's life's work was to spread the education of African-American studies, authoring dozens of books and short stories and founding several organizations in that effort. Groups like the African Heritage Studies Association, the Black Academy of Arts and Letters, and the African American Scholars Council are just some of the organizations. Clarke would pass on this day from a heart attack in 1998 at the age of 83. Cornell University's Africana Studies and Research Center's library is named in his honor. On this day in 1999, Rick Famuyiwa released his directorial debut film, The Wood. The coming-of-age comedy drama starred Omar Epps, Taye Diggs, Richard T. Jones, and Sean Nelson. The small film would gross $25 million at the box office on a $6 million budget. More recently, the director has been working in the Star Wars universe, writing, producing, and directing for The Mandalorian. On this day in 2005, boxing champion Jermain Taylor and former champion Bernard Hopkins faced off for the second time at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. Taylor would defeat Hopkins in a 115-113 unanimous decision, giving him the undisputed world middleweight title. Today we remember Basketball Hall of Fame center Nate Thurmond. Thurmond was a third-round overall pick in the 1963 NBA draft out of Ball State by the San Francisco Warriors. Standing at 6 feet 11 inches tall, Thurmond would play 14 seasons in the NBA, averaging 15 points and 15 rebounds for his career. In 1974, he was the first player to ever record a quadruple double, scoring 22 points, 14 rebounds, 13 assists, and 12 blocked shots in a 120-115 overtime win over the Atlanta Hawks. A 5-time NBA All-Defensive Team selection, Thurmond was a 7-time All-Star and selected to the NBA's 50th and 75th anniversary teams. In 1985, Thurmond was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. On this day, in 2016, he would pass after a short fight with leukemia at the age of 74. On this day in 2019, writer Colson Whitehead would release his groundbreaking historical fiction novel, The Nickel Boys. Tackling the subject of the historic Dozier School, a notoriously brutal reform school in Florida, Whitehead weaves a tremendous tale of survival and burying trauma. The book would win the Orwell Prize, the Alex Award, the Kirkus Prize for fiction, and a Pulitzer Prize for fiction. It would be Whitehead's second Pulitzer, previously winning for his book, The Underground Railroad. In 2024, a film adaptation titled Nickel Boys was released and garnered Oscar nominations for Best Picture and Adapted Screenplay. You can stream the movie on Prime Video. And finally, we remember the life of the clown prince of hip-hop, rapper Biz Markie. The Manhattan-born rapper would achieve mainstream success in 1989 with his certified platinum classic, Just a Friend. It would be his biggest hit. Throughout the decades, Biz would continue his rap career and would resurface in a myriad of ways. In film, he cameoed in 2002's Men in Black 2, and on the small screen on Nick Cannon's Wild 'N Out and Nick Jr.'s Yo Gabba Gabba. From time to time, a company would use Just a Friend as part of an advertising campaign, bringing back that old nostalgia. Sadly, Biz Markie would pass on this day in 2021 from type 2 diabetes at the age of 57. That concludes today's events. If you've enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe to the channel. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Substack. And remember, African American history is American history. So join us tomorrow as we shine a light on Blacklight History.